Hi everybody, welcome to episode 2 of my Moving to Korea series. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chantel. I already have a video out that talks about how I chose to teach in Korea. I talked about 2 ways to come to Korea to teach English. Number 1 is the EPIC program, which is called the English program in Korea. And number 2 is the Hagwon route, which is teaching at a private academy. Now there's going to be about 3 to 4 informational videos, and this is going to be number 2. In this video, I talked about, since I decided to go with the Hagwon route, how I found jobs, and when I found the job, how I was able to do all of the processing of the paperwork. Buckle up, this is gonna be another long video. I actually filmed this right when I arrived in Korea, when I was in my hotel for the first week, so that is why it's different footage. I am now in my apartment that is still under construction. I would consider it not construction. I'm actually talking about like decorating it and stuff. So since I chose to go the Hagwon route, how did I even do it? Let me tell you. You're gonna hear this a lot in the JET program, in the EPIC program, in the Hagwon program. Every situation is different, because it is. So I went on Dave's ESL cafe and I literally, I kid you not, applied for like over 30 jobs. And the jobs that I was looking at, I was just doing like process of elimination based on like hours, location, how much they were willing to pay, because they have like a description of what the position is like. And so I applied for so many, and let me tell you, it was months and months and months of a lot of work, a lot of documents, a lot of money. I applied for both like postings from the school itself, because sometimes you can actually find a school that posts the job posting themselves, and usually that's a good one because like you're specifically dealing with the people who are going to employ you. But I did not have any luck with that. I had a couple interviews and they were kind of just like really weird, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even know how to explain it. Like there was just a vibe in the interview that I was like, this doesn't seem like good. So I ended up going with a recruiting company. Don't get it twisted, you guys, it's still a business. Majority of the time they're gonna try to push a job on you just because they want to make that money, because they get paid if a teacher gets hired. So I just want to say be careful with that. I tried multiple recruiting companies and I had bad experiences with some of them, but the one that I had a really good experience with and how I got here to Korea was actually with Apple Tree Edu, I think it's called, but it's like Apple Tree Education, Apple Tree Recruiting. Again, I found them on Dave's ESL cafe. What happened is I had an initial interview with a kind woman named Juan. Shout out to any of the recruiters who helped me this entire time. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Joey. So I had interview with her, and she basically was just asking me like what I was looking for, like what location I was looking for, what hours, how involved I wanted to be as a teacher, if I had the TEFL certificate, because there's some schools that would like you to have the TEFL certificate. So she sent me about 3 to 4 different schools. One piece of advice I would give is don't give up if like the recruiter gives you 4 schools and you absolutely don't like them. Please, please, please be careful and choose your school very, very carefully. The way that I chose my school was honestly from the help of the people that I messaged, the YouTubers that I messaged on Instagram. So I really wanted to give the biggest shout out to Amanda Hope. She has a YouTube channel, so please go follow her as well. I'll put her channel in the description of this video. I researched each one of the schools. I looked at their locations, both on Neighbor Maps and on Google. I tried to see if they had any reviews on any website in Korea, so usually like neighbor blogs. I also looked at forums to see if there was like good reviews from teachers who taught there recently. There's also a really good resource that I would recommend, the green list and the blacklist. I'll put the website down below. It's like a whole website that like past teachers have made, where the green list is like lists of schools that are really good. And honestly, I guess it's different for each computer, but like Command F or like Control F, I think it is, when you like find a keyword. I tried to see if the schools that they sent me were on any of those lists, and there was some on the blacklist. Something that actually really helped me too is LinkedIn. a lot of the schools that were sent to me, when I searched it on Google, LinkedIn popped up, and then it would bring me to specific people's profiles. And I actually messaged people on LinkedIn who were former teachers at these schools, and I basically just asked them, like, how's your experience? Like, were you too overworked? How does the system at the school work? Like, are you heard by your directors? Are your concerns addressed? Just basically, like, is it a good work environment? And I was so blessed that every person that I messaged me back. So please don't forget about those resources of like LinkedIn, and don't be afraid to DM people. Don't be afraid to email people who look like they've been teachers at that school, because it will definitely give you insight on how the school actually is. I interviewed with 2 schools. I really liked both of them, and they both sent me a contract. It was just a basic interview, what are you looking for? They're trying to get to know you, but don't forget as well to use that interview to ask the questions that you have. And this is where, again, I'm super thankful and grateful for Amanda. She looked through my contract, and you have to make sure to look at your contract, like read it over multiple times, get other people to read it. Amanda read it for me, my family read it for me, and you just want to make sure that you're not being screwed over by the school. Before I signed the contract, before you sign the contract, there's like a couple things that you should specifically ask for. Like, for example, ask about your accommodation. They will talk about it, but you have to like ask for current pictures. You have to ask for the address. So I remember before I signed the contract, I looked at like the housing. I'm just gonna talk to you guys about like things in my contract that I think are really important. The things that you should look for is that they sponsor your visa. Do not pay for your visa yourself. They should sponsor your visa. They should be paying your rent of the place that you're living. They should find the housing for you. Oh, another thing too is you should always get holidays and weekends off, and you should be getting 2 types of holidays, one in the winter, one in the summer. And then you should never work overtime, but in the case that you do, you should be getting paid more. You should be getting pension and medical insurance. You should be getting severance. So it's a 1-year contract. There's a possibility of renewing. I will decide if I want to renew closer to kind of like the end of my contract. They'll also give you information, because when you get to Korea, you also have to get an alien registration card. It's kind of like your identification card while you're here, because it's not like you can just like whip out your visa every single time you're doing something. It's just kind of like in substitution of like your passport, because you're not always going to have your passport, but it's also to make sure that you're like legally allowed to be here. They also should be able to help you with like opening up a bank, your phone, getting like a SIM card. But if the school doesn't specifically help you, your coworkers should. Like, you should be in a good environment that these people would be so accommodating and helping to you, because they were once you too. So hopefully the people at your job are nice. If you stay at a place before you move into your apartment, they have to pay for it, guys. Do not pay for that stuff. Another thing too is did I say plane ticket already? Visa, plane ticket, housing, hotel, driver, all that stuff they pay for. Besides arriving and getting through immigration, they also like sent me the address of my house. They sent me the address of the school. They made sure that I knew how to get there. This is where like the difficult stuff happened. Apple Tree, they're like, okay, so the next step is to get your visa. I was getting an E2 visa, but what I had to do is I actually had to send physical documents to Korea, so that the school that would be employing me would send those documents to Korean immigration here, and then I would get like a PIN number, and then I would have to apply for the visa in my jurisdiction through either the embassy or the consulate general, and I went with the consulate general in Vancouver. And I have to have that PIN number in order to apply for the physical visa. So I had to get my criminal record check and a copy of my diploma. Also, the criminal record check takes a while, so do that one first, but only do that within 6 months of like you wanting to leave with your visa. So I think I did mine in January so that I could apply for my visa before I left, which was June or July. Criminal record check, copy of a diploma. So those two things I got notarized by a lawyer. And it's really easy. You can sometimes even just walk into the lawyer's office. I would just search like how to get your documents notarized, and then you have to get it authenticized by the deputy provincial secretary office. So it's the legislature. Self medical check form, photocopy of your passport, 5 passport size photos, but you have to go with the dimensions that they give here, because the dimensions of our passport photos in Canada are not the same as the like immigration and passport and like alien registration card here in Korea. And then a resume, the signed contract, and then an application form. You have to get those documents ready like really fast, within like 2 weeks, not even. And then you have to send that to Korea. So I FedExed it, so it arrived like 2 days later. And then the school had to apply through Korean immigration because they would be sponsoring my visa. They sent it to the immigration. It took a couple weeks, I think, to get processed, and then I got a PIN number. And then once I got that PIN number, I actually had to apply for the visa in my jurisdiction, which was in Vancouver. And all of that stuff, I just went on the Consulate of Korea in Vancouver website for what they needed for an E2 visa. Visa processing is so stressful. So I had a VIN number, so that's what it was called, once I got that thing from Korea. What I had to have was an application form that's on their website, on the consulate's website, original passport, and then a photocopy of the passport, colored photos, signed employee contract, document providing an overview of the academic institution with the name, phone number, and email of the contact person at the academic institution. So for me, it was the director of the school. The visa fee, which is $78 Canadian, and then document to prove renunciation, but it's only for people who have Korean nationality. Yeah, there's just so many notices and so many documents besides like the checklist for the specific visa that you want. You have to be super careful, and if you have one thing wrong, it's over. Like you can't do your application. Then I booked a ticket. Also, my advice to you guys is anything related to coming to the country, always look at the embassy of that country. So the embassy of Korea in Canada, their website, like all of their guidelines, and also the consulate general in your jurisdiction. Because you guys, when I came to Korea, there was a few people who were like coming to Korea to be a teacher, and they didn't have their PCR, and they're like, oh, I'm double vaxxed, but like you can't get into Korea if you don't have a PCR. And it's not like the airline staff's decision, it's literally the country of Korea. Like you can't go through immigration without having a PCR test. You have to check the embassy, and you have to check the consulate general of that country. Like you have to check their websites to see what you need to get into that country. So that's another thing that I would highly advise. All that information for what you need is going to be sent to you through the recruiting company if you go that way. I also would do research on specific recruiting companies if you want to go that way. But I can assure you that Dave's ESL Cafe is like a legit thing. Honestly, like saying all this information, I don't really know if it makes sense, but I'm gonna go with it. That was kind of all over the place, but let me just kind of give you guys like an overview. So basically, how I got to go to Korea is I researched since university options to go abroad. I found through my international office at my university that there was programs that you could go and teach abroad, and I went to do research on many different countries, and I randomly like settled on Korea. Another random thing that's like crazy is that like a lot of the people that I went to school with in 2019 who stayed in Korea are in their last year of their degree this September. So it's just crazy how I'm here at the exact same time. Like I think like stars aligned. It's really weird. Anyways, so then I looked at Epic and Hagwon routes. I researched Epic, I researched Hagwon, I looked at experiences of teachers, and then I wrote the basic information of each Epic and Hagwon, and then I showed all the similarities, all the differences, and then I wrote a pros and cons list for each one, and then I kind of just decided on which one mattered to me, like what things mattered to me and which were more important to me. So I ended up going with the Hagwon route. And if you go with the Epic route, I heard that it's still really nice. It's just, again, what you want. Like, if you're okay not being in a big city, you're okay with just being a language teacher, you're okay with getting less money sometimes. If you're okay with that lifestyle, then maybe go for the Epic program. It's just, for me, I kind of like wasn't okay with the fact that like I could be teaching to up to like 3 different schools and at different ages. Yeah, that's another thing they asked, if like what like ages you wanted to teach. Anyways, ended up going the Hagwon route. The Hagwon route, I went on Dave's ESL and I looked for months, and I like applied for around 50 jobs. Couldn't find any luck, so I ended up going with recruiting companies. I had bad luck with recruiting companies as well, but I ended up going with Apple Tree Recruiting, Apple Tree Education. Love them. After I went with Apple Tree, had an interview to tell them what I was looking for. Then they sent me 4 different schools. 2 of them I had really good feeling about, and then those 2 actually that I had a really good feeling about were the ones that actually sent me a contract back. I reviewed the contract, see if I liked it, asked for guidance from actual teachers here in Korea. They looked over both of them, kind of were just like, it's up to you, both are good, but it's kind of like location I think was the biggest for me. And then I went with one of them that's in Seoul, and I signed the contract. And then after I signed that contract, Apple Tree helped me, and they were like, okay, we need these specific documents from you that we're gonna send to the Korean immigration. I got all those documents ready within, try to get it done as soon as possible, you guys. It's a lot of work, and you do have to put a little bit of money to do some of those things. Like, for example, to get your stuff notarized and then authenticized. Try to do it as early as you can. So I got all those documents physically sent to Korea because I needed a wet signature. They sent it, the school sent it to Korean immigration, and then when that was approved, I had a VIN number. I used that VIN number, included it into my application for an E2 visa specifically in my jurisdiction, which was Alberta, and I got it at the Consulate General of Korea in Vancouver. I actually went physically to Vancouver to apply and make sure that like all the documents were correct, and some of them were not, and I'm glad that I went in person, because if I did it just through mail, I would have messed up. Like, I would have gotten my visa. So I corrected it while they were open. So that's another tip. If you decide to go in person, try to go as early as you can during the day, because if one of your documents is messed up, you have time during the day to kind of like figure it out. Like, they gave me an hour to figure it out, the thing that I did wrong. So went to Vancouver, applied there, gave it all to them, and I left it to God. And by God's grace, I got my visa, it was approved, and then I booked my flight. And yeah, that's basically it. I went on the embassy and the consulate's websites to make sure that I had everything that I needed to get into the country regarding COVID. And the entire time as well, like Apple Tree, they were so involved and just making sure I had everything. They were like answering my questions right away, giving me updates, asking me for updates. So okay, let me see if that's all that's left to say. You know, as much as it's like kind of like me coming to Korea is related to like me doing reaction videos and related to my semester abroad, I've always kind of wanted to do something abroad. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, and like teaching just came up, but my main focus really is to be a good teacher and to help these kids for their futures. Like, for people who know me, I love kids. I love being kind of like a role model. When I was in high school, my coaches and my teachers always said that they thought I could be a teacher or like a coach or something. So it's crazy how I'm doing that now. But at the same time, I do want to have fun in Korea and make the most out of it, and explore. And also one of my family friends' mom, well, Bree and Dan's mom, she said in a post, like, life isn't about finding yourself or discovering yourself, life is about creating yourself. And I love that. I love that. And like, oh, I'm just so happy. You guys have no idea. I was so sad and so, like, I mean, so many people were, but like the pandemic was so hard on me, particularly because I wanted to go abroad and I couldn't for like 2 years, and then I didn't have a job, you know. And so it's kind of like now I'm here and I have a job and I'm like in Korea and I'm traveling and I'm doing it while I'm young. I'm just so grateful, so blessed. So thank you for your interest. Like I said, this is a freaking long ass video. This video is definitely gonna be late because I am just so behind from like trying, like, the process of coming to Korea, actually moving here, being jet lagged, getting adjusted to a job, getting adjusted to like a routine in a life here. It's a lot, and so I'm really behind on editing, but I'm gonna try my best. This might be like a month late, I don't even know, maybe even 2 months. We'll see what happens. But I just wanted to say thank you if you have been following along. I hope I answered any of the questions that you guys had about the process of moving to Korea to teach English. And the fact that it's like a lot of like BTS fans too is really like just like heartwarming to me, because of course you guys love BTS and the culture, but a lot of you guys have said that you've always wanted to do this sort of thing. And if I can help you being a fellow ARMY, I'd love to be that person. Feel free to DM me if you have any more questions. With that, good luck if you guys ever want to do this. I'm gonna put all the resources and all the things I talked about in the description. I'm gonna make sure that I do, because there's sometimes where I watch videos and people say that they're gonna put the link in the description and there's no link in the description. I will try my best. Another thing, like I said, please also do your own research. Like, go watch YouTube videos, go read forums on the internet about teaching abroad. There's a lot of horror stories. I think I have really good coworkers, I can already tell. I know it's gonna be a lot of work, but the Korean co-teachers are really nice, my foreign teachers are really nice, the director and the head teacher of the school are really nice. So, yes. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go enjoy myself today. I feel like that's enough work for me today. And by that, I don't mean that, because I'm actually going to a cafe later to do some editing. I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you understood it. Okay,